Real estate investment. I know a lot of you love this one as well. Again, something else to worry about potentially from the budget. Who knows? Real estate investment in the UK is at an inflection point, according to new research from Opportunity London. It says investment volumes are expected to return to pre-pandemic levels of £50 billion a year. Delighted to welcome to the show Jace Tyrrell, who is CEO of Opportunity London. Hey, Jace, there's been a lot of false dawns for this sector, a lot of concerns in different areas of real estate, from CRE to the ultra-prime as well. Just give us the broad brush, and then we'll ask you a few more questions, sir.
Sure, look, I think there was a lot of concern, and I think what we've had now is we're certainly at that inflection point, as the report shows, and I think particularly London, actually, there's been quite a solid uptick, sort of up 13% on last year. We've seen a huge sort of increase in investment volumes, particularly in student housing and hotels. And hotels, actually, £1 billion was transacted, £1 billion in the first 6 months of this year. So, look, cautious optimism, and I'm sure we'll come on to the budget in a minute, but I think we're certainly starting a new cycle here in London in terms of real estate investment.
The only thing I'll say, Jace, is I'm a long-term Londoner as well. I actually now live in the middle of nowhere in Sussex. But the point is, I lived most of my life in London. And when I get on that lovely boat that can go all the way from, let's say, I don't know, Richmond or Putney, all the way down to Greenwich, the amount of real estate and new real estate that has been built, especially in areas that used to be called, like Vauxhall, for instance, now called Nine Elms, quite stunning amounts of property on the market. The inventory is enormous at a time when non-doms are getting attacked quite heavily. Buy-to-let owners are getting attacked heavily, potentially as well. The incentive to build new at the moment, it's got to be on hold for many people, again, with those concerns about the budget and what Rachel Reeves may or may not do.
Yes, so I think in residential in particular, obviously the London and Opportunity London, we look at commercial and resi and infrastructure and a whole range of asset classes. But I think there is a lot in the resi that's still difficult in terms of, viability, financing development. There's risk, as you say, in terms of some of those taxes coming in. But I think I was just at Labour conference and last couple of days, and I think there feels a shift in the last sort of 3 days in terms of, I'm hoping, and a lot of us are, there'll be some more incentives, particularly in capital investment. And I think every conversation we were having in Liverpool, the housing came up. And I think there's a real need that we need some different sort of asset classes, more student housing, build to rent. There's a lot of opportunity for that in London still. So I, more optimistic on this side that we'll see some shifts in policy and some tax incentives to hopefully release some more supply into the market.
Jace, it feels like any change that we're going to get to see in the housing market around volume will be delivered from the Bank of England, not from the Labour Party at this stage.
That's fair. Look, and I think we did a survey with JLL that's tracked about 800 global investors, and they're sort of forecasting 3 or 4 interest rates cuts in the next 12 months, which I think, again, shows that is going to obviously be a main lever in unlocking some of that capital. But I have to say, the private equity guys, some of the private funds, the family offices, we've seen, as I say, quite a lot of volume come up, and particularly the last 3 months, actually. So it does feel, from everything we're looking at, we are starting a new cycle here in London.
You've mentioned student housing and data centres in particular. We've had a lot of conversations in recent days about the build-out in data centres. What are we seeing in terms of big money getting behind this opportunity in the capital at this stage, given it is somewhat of a tech hub?
It really is, and I think we talk a lot of large, data providers, and they've got billions, wanting to deploy in London, in the UK. But actually, we do need a bit of government support here, just on the allocation of, where those sites are. But one of the challenges for London, and I'm sure we'll get through this, but our resilience in energy, and actually, as we know, data centres plus other requirements require a lot of energy and sort of net zero energy. So we're working now on some of those large sites across the capital to see if we can bring them together to actually get some more data center deployments. I have to say, though, with challenges, some of these processes through the planning process can take years and years, and we're in a race for some of this capital to be invested here. So we need to speed up our planning process, particularly in infrastructure and energy.
It's been done, hasn't it? Hasn't the Deputy Prime Minister and the Chancellor actually already said we've done more in, I think the quote was something along the lines of, we've done more, you were there, we've done more in 3 or 4 months for the planning to unblock it than the Tories did in 14 years. Is that right?
Oh, I think there's very good targets being set on planning, and certainly for London, you've got Labour councils, Labour mayor, Labour government. But I think viability still comes up a lot. So it's great to have the push on planning, very much welcomed by the industry. But I think there needs to be a realism on sort of the viability and the deliverability and speeding some of those processes up.
Just quickly, I noticed there are no Asian buyers listed here as the ones seeking to invest. You've got US and Middle East. Where's the Asian buyer?
It's slowed down in Asia. I think APAC more broadly, the Australian super funds, Japan, Korea definitely up. But I think for Hong Kong, China in particular, there has been a slowdown. Although we're back out in a couple of months to the Hong Kong market to have a talk to investors down there. So I think there's going to be a tick up later this year into next year. But I think at the moment, a bit more muted on the Hong Kong, China side.
It's just to finish up, you went to conference. Did you go to the £3,000 a head business day? Did you get ripped off? Did you feel like you got value for money? That's all I see in the paper.
I didn't go to that, but actually getting a ticket, I had my ticket about 3 or 4 weeks ago, but it was like a Taylor Swift ticket, apparently. You couldn't get in from 2 weeks ago. So, yeah, they had a lot more people there this year. So I think some people were begrudging that $3,000 for the ticket. But let's see what comes out of the conference.
Taylor Swift ticket. The Labour Party must love you. You must be a paid-up member, Jace, with that kind of comment.
Not at all. Not political.
Well, Coldplay go on sale today. We'll see how that one goes. Cheers, Jace. Nice to see you, sir. Thanks for your time. Jace Tyrrell, CEO of Opportunity London.
A lot of familiar lyrics, no doubt, at the Labour Party conference, but fewer hits.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. It was a bit of word soup, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, let's just see. We're looking forward to the budget.
CGT, not as good as Love Story, is it? Meantime, we are talking about European futures. We are counting down the start of the